But the other one, which is an extraordinary comment or series of comments by someone who you would have thought might know a lot better, is that every school should have a useless teacher, according to the chairman of Ofsted. Zena Atkins has, not surprisingly, prompted fury among many educationalists now by saying that a bad teacher helps children learn how to manage people who are not good at their jobs. Ms Atkins goes on, it can be crushing for pupils to have a truly awful teacher. I've watched kids who learn an awful lot by having them, though. They learn to manage those dreadful teachers while keeping their confidence. In an interview with the Sunday Times, she said it's about learning how to identify good role models. One really good thing about primary school is that every kid learns how to deal with a really bad teacher. I would not remove every single useless teacher because every grown-up in a workplace needs to learn to deal with the moron who sits 4 desks down without lamping them and to deal with authority that's useless. Yes, these are the words of the outgoing chairman of the Ofsted, which is the Office for Standards in Education. One last comment from her. I'd like to keep the number low, but if every primary school has one pretty naff teacher, this helps kids realise that even if you know the quality of authority is not good, you have to learn how to play it. Paul Jordan is a head teacher at a school in East London. Have you got naff teachers in your common room, Mr. Jordan?
I've got very vibrant, exciting young staff who provide a very outstanding provision for my community, Nick, and that sort of comment worries me, really.
Why?
Well, when our school was judged as outstanding last year,
in an Ofsted report, actually.
In an Ofsted report, yeah. We got outstanding in all areas of inspection, and I found the experience extremely beneficial. So I try not to make any knee-jerk judgments or comments, the things taken out of context and stuff. But really, we're charged with this duty of giving every child the best educational experience possible, really, helping every child and their family to do their best. There isn't any capacity within all of that to have failing teachers, is my viewpoint. It's, every teacher, every lesson counts to make children as clever and as rounded as possible.
How has this woman ever got the job of being in charge of Ofsted?
There's a lot of good stuff that's come out of Ofsted, and for me, it was a very intense period where I received some very, very important training, a very intensive team looking at my school, looking at how I lead the school, and that gave me the reaffirmation to carry on doing that work. So for me, I found the whole thing very, very positive. It just seems a very silly thing to say, out of context, really, that there's a place for failing teachers in schools. There isn't. It's down to me and to my colleagues to look at teachers, see what their strengths are, because I'm thankfully the majority of teaching in my school is at least good and in many cases outstanding. So it's a question of working with those teachers, looking at what they're doing right, building upon their strengths, and hopefully, turning them into exceptional practitioners.
Notwithstanding the vibrancy that you have in your staff common room as the head teacher there, Mr. Jordan, would there be, in other schools, would there be any benefit for children, primary school children, seeing a teacher who's really naff, to use this woman's words, and then managing it?
I find that hard to believe, don't you? It's this is.
I find it extraordinary that this woman, if you're asking me how she ever got the job, and I find it actually quite alarming. Clearly, she's is completely and utterly talking because she's had some kind of strange mental aberration, or she should never have had this post in the first place.
You see, the way I run the school, and I think many head teachers do, it's not been stuck in the office. It's as part of the whole review cycle and professional development for teachers. You're out there in the front line. You're working with the teachers. You're modelling good practice. You're looking at the teachers' strengths, seeing what they're doing right, and developing that further. Life really is too short for children to be subject to bad practice.
Lastly, David Cameron, if I just get you on this as a last word, David Cameron saying he's terrified about finding decent state schools here in London. What do you say to that?
Again, that seems to... It's the messages that gives the community. It's about appearing as a brand for the community, a place where schools are deemed as good, that work in partnership with the parents to move learning on, to give them a good experience. Hearing that sort of comment from an Exetonian kind of gives the impression that, what are the messages there? That schools aren't, public schools, state schools aren't very good.
I will leave it there. Paul Jordan, who's a head teacher at a school in East London, thank you. Listening to that is...